Hello, welcome everyone. Let me just add Reese. There he is. We're at. Oh, let me just stop that. So yeah, I'm here with, or I'm joined by some people from the Sussex Thunder American football team, and you can see on screen I've got Coach Ellis, I've got Sam, and I've got Reese. I'll get them to introduce themselves in a second. But yeah, thanks for joining us. I've got someone just said, "Hey, Pricey." Which is obviously someone that I know. I've no idea who that is, but there we go. So we're going to be spending about an hour, guys, just talking about your club. There's been a lot of recent announcements that I think some of them fantastic. You know, I think you're quite easily the busiest club in Britball at the moment. Certainly sort of off the field, as it were. You know, some of the announcements and the things you guys have got going, I'm really interested in getting under. Even today, there was an announcement that you guys had, which we'll get into. But yeah, before we jump into that stuff, and also I want you guys to sort of tell me what life is like at the Thunder. You know, what's it like going there? What can I expect if I was going to join? All of that sort of stuff. So yeah, looking forward to this conversation. Appreciate you guys joining me today. It's Moose. Hello, Moose. And then you've got a bit of love for you there, Sambo, from Gavin Baxter. Right, so I have to start, hierarchically. So, Coach Ellis, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself? Not that you really need much of an introduction, but just let our viewership know who you are and a little bit about, what you do at the Thunder and what you've done in football.
Okay, so just a sort of brief overview. This would be my 39th year in Britball. I went to my first ever practice at the Crawley Raiders back in November 1983, and have not been able to put football down ever since. I've been really lucky. I've had some great opportunities. I've coached some in the States, coached some in Europe. Steve, you'll know that my time at the Knights. Obviously, we spent together. I was with the Knights from I think 2001 to 2010. We had a really successful program back then, played some in Europe, won a national championship, all good stuff. This is my third stint as head coach at the Sussex Thunder. So I was first head coach at the Thunder in 97. I then came back here in 2011 and then went away for a year. And then I think I came back here around 2015, been there ever since. And we're really trying to develop the program into something larger than just a team. It's more of a Thunder organization, and that's sort of the drive and where we are at the moment. We're trying to push the team onto bigger and better things on the field, and hopefully that will follow in the next year or so with promotion to the Prem. That's what we're driving towards.
Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that again later. Thank you. And you mentioned it very briefly there. I always like to sort of have that whole full disclosure approach to the guests. And Coach Ellis and I go back a number of years and have had some fantastic times together. Someone that I greatly respect in the sport. You were my head coach, I think, at one point. I think it was special teams coordinator, then defensive coordinator, if I remember rightly. And then were you head coach?
Yeah, I was head coach. I think so. When Coach Rains left, and I think that was about 2008. I was head coach 2008, 2009, and then left. I think in 2010.
So we had some awesome times, and like you said, it was playing in Europe. I remember me, you, and Coach Rains went out and coached the Warsaw Eagles. Remember that one?
I do remember that one.
And look at them now, look at what they've gone on to. What is it, about 10 years?
If you remember, we went out on the Saturday and the Sunday, and it took us all day Saturday to teach them 4 hours worth of drills that we could run on the Sunday. And now they're this massive organisation.
Unreal, and it like for me that does put to shame Britball in a huge way, like the way that they've gone. Like, so I was brought out there as just a player, and Coach Ellis and Coach Rains had me basically in every position at some point during that 2 days, saying, "This is how you do a running back. This is how you do a lineman block or whatever." And I was run ragged, but but at the same time, that was the level. Like, not that I'm a fantastic player, but I was able to just sort of step in and show each of these units how to sort of play different positions. I could never do that with them now, like they're just way above, like, so it's amazing what they've done. They were national champions at the time. I remember that. They just won the national championship, didn't they?
Absolutely. But Polish football is in a completely different place now. So
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So like I said, me and Ellis, Coach Ellis, go way back, and really pleased to have you on here today, Coach. The other two gentlemen that are here, Reese and Sam. I've met Sam once or twice, but I've never met Reese. But I don't actually know either of you guys that well. So, Sam, do you want to go first? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I think. Thanks for having me on, by the way, as well. But my discography is nothing compared to Coach Ellis's. So I've been in football now. I think this is my 11th year. I have been with a couple of clubs, but returned home, I think, mainly to think about retiring and moving into coaching in the next 2-3 years. So I wanted to see out my time with Coach Ellis there and with Thunder. I have enjoyed every year of playing football, everything from the ups and downs, the near misses to finals. It's given me so much as football, which we'll go into all the stuff later, but absolutely it brings something to your life. So, and I've enjoyed all of it. So, and I've won one championship at the Thunder as well, so which was brilliant.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I remember that. That was 2013. Do you guys win that?
2012 in the torrential downfall with a storm above that kept calling off the game.
There's the trophy right there.
Yeah, I remember that. It was you had the GB decal on the lid.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That was painful, but still, nonetheless. So, and that season, what was your record that season? Did you have any sort of? Did you go undefeated, or did you have any sort of?
No, we every time we've really excelled, we've always been under the hammer a little bit. So I think we had the additional games. We went into the playoffs, didn't we? We had to fight all the way through. And we had to win every single game getting through. So
we weren't even the favourites. I mean, I think the West Coast Trojans were supposed to win that absolutely hands down, but it was an atrocious day. I mean, the field at Sheffield was like a swimming pool rather than a football field.
Yeah. When we rocked up though, it was glorious because I think the youth were playing in the daytime, and then we went into the evening, didn't we? And we kept getting called off, so it kept getting longer and longer. So the game went on for like 5 hours.
Right. So is this Don Valley Stadium?
Yeah, Don Valley. The locker room was the locker rooms were all flooded because the water was coming down that hard. It was atrocious.
And we got Coach Ellis's traditional speech about, back then it was his traditional speech about the Vikings and burning the boats. As he's getting up onto a wooden bench to try and get away from the water, I'm like, so it's getting a bit much.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Cheers to that, Sam. And over to you, Reese.
So I started playing football when I went to uni, as a lot of players do, in 2015. And I've been playing ever since. I played for the Staffordshire Stallions when I first started, and then went to the senior team at the Surge, and was coached under John Wise for a little bit.
Yeah, ex-teammate of mine.
I thought that name would ring a bell. Yeah, he's insane, and he always has a way to make you think more about why you're doing certain things. And then when I moved down south for work, Coach Wise put me in touch with Coach Ellis, and then I've been here since the end of 2018.
And sorry, I didn't ask Sam, but I will come back. But what position do you play?
Strong safety. Almost exclusively strong safety. I don't know why. I think he likes me to cause trouble, so I don't play free. I just play strong. So.
Okay. And Reese, what about you? Where
receiver, tight end.
Okay, cool, awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. I suppose, there's so many bits that I can go into. Well, and one thing Coach Ellis mentioned at the beginning was 25th anniversary. Does that, Coach Ellis, just starting off with that, does that tie in with this new uniforms thing, the announcement from today? Was that like the thinking behind it? What was the drive behind that one?
Yeah, so everything that we're doing this year ties back to the 25th anniversary of the club. So if people don't know the back history of the club, so the Crawley Raiders and the Brighton B-52s, which are around in the really early days of Britball, dating back to the early 80s. Brighton always had a really good offence, although their defence wasn't bad either. I mean, they were a really solid organisation. But the Crawley Raiders were known more for their defence. So in 1996, we decided to, finally merge the clubs. Football was on a bit of a downturn at that point. 1997 was the first year we actually went on the field as the Sussex Thunder, and it was almost an instant success. We had a great season in 97. 98, we went to the National Championship and lost to the Olympians in what would have been the Prem back then. Everybody lost to the Olympians back then. And it was kind of an instant success. And then for whatever reason, the club closed down for a couple of years around 2000. And then some of the players that were left brought it back. In fact, Tony Miller was involved in bringing it back, who was our chairman for a very long time. And it's kind of been from strength to strength every year since, to the point where we got to this year and we wanted to do something very special because of the 25th anniversary. And we've got lots of things happening this year and lots of things going on, but we just thought it would be a great opportunity to revamp the uniform, and do all sorts of things just for our 25th anniversary.
So I watched the video that was released, and when I started watching it, I thought, oh, it's a white kit that you've launched, but it looks like is it 3 different colours that you've brought out, all new?
Yeah.
Is that like it wasn't sure?
Our uniform last year was a red shirt and blue pants, and our change-up was a blue shirt. But the blue shirt had kind of got to the end of its life. So we've now gone to an all-white kit, an all-blue kit, and an all-red kit. But, of course, if we mix that up, we've got 9 different variations now. So we could wear something different every week.
Yeah. Nice. And so how does that work for the players? Do they will they have to buy 3 different jerseys, or does the club?
No, if you play for the Thunder organisation, no, you'd never buy a uniform. So the uniforms are owned by the club. So when you are on game day, we'll issue you with shirt and pants, and you turn it back in at the end of the day. It's laundered and if there's any tears in it, it's mended, and you just get it again on game day. So interestingly, we've had some guys join us this year, and they've kind of gone, "Well, how much are the shirts?" So you don't have to buy shirts. Well, how much are the pants? Well, you don't have to buy pants. Part and parcel of the relaunch of the uniform, we're about to make all of those shirts available to fans over the next couple of days.
Oh wow! Okay.
So we've done a deal with the manufacturer that we can turn those around at a reasonable price as well. And there will be somebody who goes, "Oh well, I've got my girlfriend a shirt in white and blue and red," and they'll have the whole thing.
Yeah. Nice. It's a nice touch. And something that just popped into my head that we didn't even talk about prior to this, prior to going live. Your game day social media, and actually your media in general, I would say is probably the best in the country. And I think, is it Surge World? Is the partnership you've got, or the person that sort of, I know the guy's called Surge. He messages me sometimes, but you've got some sort of agreement with them, and you turn around game day highlights on the same day. I know that because I'm often sharing them from Gridiron Hub's page, right? It's quite an impressive setup you've got there. Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Surge is amazing. Surge used to be a tight end for the Thunder before I got here, actually. Sorry, before I got here the last 2 times. He decided that he wasn't going to play anymore, but social or media production is his thing. Yeah. So originally he was doing all of our coaches film for us, but that's become much larger. So now he does all of our coaches film, all of our highlights. He produced the uniform video. Amusingly, so when we went out to film that uniform video, we went out at 8 o'clock one night. It needed to be dark to get the effects that we wanted. I think we were still there about 1 o'clock in the morning. In fact, university security came and tried to throw us out because they wanted to do these people that were making all this noise in the corner of the field. But yeah, I mean, he is phenomenal, and we've increased our input on our social media side this year. So Serge did a lot of that on his own. Then we've got a stills photographer called Kyle Helmsley, who does a lot of photography work, and then we've got 2 other guys joined us this year. So there is a guy called Jordan, who is doing some additional film work for us, and then there's a written media guy called Alfie Vincent, who does a lot of our website stories. So yeah, we've got a nice grown unit for media this year as well.
Someone said hi. I don't know which one. That's one of them. But there you go. I imagine it is. But yeah, and I think it's, you know, I think of the sport quite often from a player's perspective, probably because I've not gone into coaching or managing a club or anything like that, and I still fancy myself as a player at some point in the future. And I always say, like, there's, you know, as a player, I expect a certain amount of media from the team. So like game day photos, game film, you know, a write up after the game. Hopefully, that's got my name in it. Stats, like those are like my four horsemen of output from a game that I want to see, right? Yeah. Like it's, you know, I often, you know, if I go back through my hard drives, I've like saved down loads of like articles and different things that from the different teams I've played over the years. It's really important to me. And you know, if I speak to people who played, you know, the 10 or the 20 years before me in Britball, there was an absence of that to an extent. You know, the artifacts aren't quite as sound as they are, and everything's getting a lot. You know, you're seeing teams that are producing a lot more media and a lot more content, but there are still clubs that don't produce stats, that don't produce game day film and stuff. You know, so like it's amazing to see a club like yourselves that are sort of going above and beyond, and you know, having a media team the size that you've just described is you know, impressive. But
well, the interesting side to that, Steve, is that we get a lot of teams that play us want to do film swap. Now, obviously, we film from a tower,
yeah,
and we're always willing to do film swap. But the first thing that we ask when people say, "Oh, can we do a film trade?" is, "Can we see the quality of what you're offering?"
Quality, yeah,
and because you know, everybody can see the quality of what we do because it goes out as our highlights package. And what we usually get is a guy with a GoPro standing on the sideline walking his dog. And you can't see anything, and you're like, no, I'm not really sure we want to trade for that.
Yep. Well, and it's funny because I've heard the same, not from Tony Allen directly, but from Tony Allen's son. Like that's one of the main reasons why at the Warriors he's always like, well, what's the point of me giving game film away if you haven't got the same sort of, because they've obviously got a nice stand, a stadium, they've got a nice angle of the of the pitch. Sometimes they've got 2 cameras. You know, you're never comparing apples for apples. But what I'm quite interested in understanding, actually, Sam and Reese, how does that feel like from your perspective? Do you realise that you're spoilt at the Thunder, like with this stuff, or you know, like, or does that stuff not factor in? Because for me, it's like I'm envious, you know, like to see this stuff. Reese, what about you? Like, how does that feel for you? You know, when you're producing this sort of this content.
I love it. Like I've played football now for 6 years, and the highlights were okay when I played at the Surge, but with Surge World and with the Thunder, it's just next level. Like I spoke to Surge at the end of my first season here, and went, oh, I need a highlights reel put together for me, and I have my own personal highlight reel which Serge has sorted for me, which I've sent off to teams in Europe and stuff like that. And being noticed for stuff like that is like the quality of film is helping me get noticed. Yeah. Which is amazing. And Serge is by far one of the best video specialists in Britball, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything he does is mad.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't want to harp on about Serge too much. You know, he's turning into the new Tom Watt for Thunder if we're not careful. But I genuinely think he's the hardest working man in football. Like, he sits up on that tower all the time. And then when he gets home, he has to sit and go through everything that he's done. So it is hard for him. But from a player point of view, like you say, yeah, there's certain things that you want to etch into history. You want to make sure that you've got your things that you can. And I know everyone jokes about it, but you want to show your kids or you want to show people. Memorabilia is only second to actually doing it in the first place. Because if no one remembers it or you don't have any evidence of doing it, you're just, that crazy guy that says that you did it. So I think it is really important. I mean, the stuff you'll see, Coach Ellis is a testament to it. He sells that much merch that probably wouldn't ever sell, but players lap it up. You put the number on it and they love it. And it's the same with photography, videos, how quickly we get it out there. It's current, and we live in 2021. You've got to get media out there quick. You've got to get things out quick now. So there's an expectance of what we're going to do. And I think anybody that's really not on the media train yet is going to struggle going forward in the next few years because everybody's doing it. I think that's really what it boils down to. The internet is so powerful now. If you're not sharing content, pictures, just game day pictures, no one knows. So
yeah, and that's it. Like, I think, and this sort of this is quite a nice little thing that tied into the next thing. So thanks for that, Sam. But it's almost like if you don't produce that stuff, then you don't show up on people's radars and like you don't exist. Like you've got to be out there on social media to attract people, individuals, players to your club, which actually, like I say, brings me on to my next thing, because in a time where we're scaling back and clubs aren't able to compete for this season or not doing so, and there are a lot of players, including myself, that don't want to, they're not interested in playing this season. You guys are launching a B team, or sorry, do you call them a B team or just call them Thunderbolts? I don't want to sort of, I don't want to talk out of turn.
Yeah, they're not a B team.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
They're called the Sussex Thunderbolts,
yes.
And it's a development opportunity for people that are maybe new to the game. So, rather than them come in and fight for a job at the Thunder, we've created the Thunderbolts, which is a genuine team on their own, and they all guys will fight for roles there also.
So how has that come about? Because how have you got, surely that's resource heavy on your club, coaches, pitches, everything is doubled, right? Like,
yeah. So
have you just done an amazing job attracting people to the club over the years? Or
so genuinely, Steve, I think the social media has helped us no end. I think the fact that we are out there and people can see us. I would suggest that there probably aren't many people in British football who don't know something or have seen something of the Sussex Thunder as an organisation. So that's obviously done a huge job for recruiting for us. And so last year, when nobody was playing football because of COVID, we were getting calls almost on a daily basis of people interested in our organisation. So when we came back just before Christmas, before the sort of the Christmas lockdown, and we had an opportunity to get on a practice field and do some work, we were seeing a large number of people that were interested in our program, and to the point of when we were leading up to what this year was going to be, we had 135 players on our roster, and the take was that as a coach or as a group of coaches, we would find it hard to facilitate 60, 65 players at the Sussex Thunder on a game day. Mm-hmm. We've been part of large organisations, and you just can't get everybody on the field, which obviously then creates problem, because if you want to play football and you can't get on the field, then you do one of two things. You either quit the game or you go somewhere else. Well, the last thing I want to do is see people quit the game. And ultimately, you know, I want to see as many people play football as they can, whether that's in our organisation or somebody else's organisation. But lots of people kind of came in and said, no, we want to be part of the Thunder organisation. And we looked at, did we have the Thunder team and a practice squad and just allow people to stay with the program and practice with us with the hope of making the team in 2022?
Yeah.
Or did we build a second team that could, you know, stand and play some games on its own? And a conversation was had with the league, and there were some opportunities, and hence the Thunderbolts came into being.
And so they immediately entered into the 2021 league structure, which is a non-competitive one. How do you see that? Is that an ideal scenario for them? Like, are you pleased that they're going to be straight into, you know, a structured league?
Yeah, to be honest, Steve, I think it worked really well for us as an organisation and really well for them as a team. If I kind of explain, when the league did their conference builds, originally the Thunder were scheduled to play in that Southeast Conference, and there was a real concern, if you like, we knew that we'd had a heavy recruiting year, and we've brought players in from lots of different teams. We've got offensive linemen that have come in from the London Warriors, from the Portsmouth Dreadnoughts. So we've done some heavy recruiting, and I was concerned about playing with some of the teams that are in the Southeast Conference. Not because I didn't want to play them, but I like competitive football, and I didn't want to be overly competitive for them, as well as I wanted to test ourselves. Yeah. So when the opportunity came for us to play in a conference with Portsmouth, the Thrashers, Bournemouth, and the Knights, that was an opportunity that, as the Thunder, we absolutely had to jump at.
Yeah.
But then the gap that we left in the Southeast Conference, it was a perfect opportunity for us to suggest, you know, maybe that was something that the Thunderbolts could pick up.
Yeah.
And hence, you know, while they're in the Southeast and we're in the Wessex group with those other teams, which
I definitely want to get to the Wessex group later on and have a chat about
that. Which is a great opportunity for us to link back up against with the likes of Coach Steve Rains, who we both know and have worked with, Tutul and Tango at the Knights. So it's a perfect opportunity for the Thunder and a perfect opportunity for the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, cool, makes sense. There's a couple of Sambo's getting a lot of comments. I just wanted to make sure we didn't ignore our loving audience. Big up the transfer players. That's Moose. And then Moose also said everyone's an ex-teammate of mine. I don't know about everyone, but there's quite a few, yeah. But so Sambo and Reese, over to you guys now, actually. I want to know what it's like to play for the Thunder, what it's like to be involved in this organisation, what you like about it. I imagine that you're going to want to be a bit guarded just because your head coach is there, right? So be careful what you say. But just give me an overview of it, and then I want to sort of dive a little bit deeper. Reese, start with you. Like, what's so good about it? Why do you like it there?
There's always someone there to support you. I've been at teams where there's been like 4 coaches in a training session with like 40 plus players, and it's like they're running between different drills to cover so that everyone's getting some coaching time. Whereas at Thunder, you've got like 2-3 coaches on every single drill. So one coach can be explaining to the group, while if one player needs just that little bit of more clarity, you can just get pulled aside and go, look, you need to just work on this little thing and your whole drill will get better.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has to stop for one person to get that extra little bit of coaching that they might need. And having that support helps develop every player so much faster.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Sam, what about you, mate?
I don't know. The way I see it is, obviously you know, football training happens because of the players. You know, we have to make up the numbers and all the rest of it, and that makes it all work. But I feel like what the coaches do and the organization tends to do is they're ever building, trying to make it more professional and trying to make more, I guess, make the sport bigger in the area. So Coach Ellis is one of the reasons why I've stuck with him so long, is because that's his primary focus. It's actually not Thunder. It's about making sure that people and players can actually play. So if there's someone that, say, is struggling with distance or is traveling a long way because they fell out with someone at another club, he tends to work on building those bridges. So for me, when we're down at Thunder, what I see him doing day in, day out, like with the jerseys, he covers the cost of the jerseys. He turns up and helps set up. He's always going above and beyond. And I really want to, if I'm going to put my body on the line, my time, everything that goes with football, because it is very consuming. It's your whole Sunday. It's midweek. It's a lot of money. So I think when you see a club putting as much in as you put in, that's why I see Sundays going so well and building the way it built. And we had that unfortunate lapse back in you know the 90s, and when football came away from Channel 4 and things like that, and everything dipped off, the excitement all dipped off. It was kind of before I was in football. But I think if that hadn't happened and things have been steamrolling the way they are now, you know, we'd be a lot further on, and there'd be, you know, universities now. I think most universities, if not all of them, have some sort of American football in it. The next stage, if they get into schools because of programs like Coach Ellis is helping out, I think you know, the growth will be exponential on it.
Steve, can I just clarify a couple of points as well? So we do have a large group of people that work with all of our players. So we have a large number of coaches, assistant coaches, and mentors that have been in the game for a long time and come along and help. If your memory goes back to the early 80s, as an example, we've got a quarterbacks coach who is with us, Dave Gibbs, who comes from Portsmouth, and he's coaching our quarterbacks. But we have a mentor that's with us, that is Chaz Jasicki, who played for the Brighton B-52s back in the 80s. So what we've tried to do, we've tried to engage you know, a large number of coaches. So as Reece said, you know, we've got multiple people working with our players in all the groups, because we don't want anybody to come and not be instructed or being developed. But we've also got coaches or assistant coaches who we're developing as well for our future. So, you know, we've built a succession plan within our own organization, so that we've always got either the next players or the next coaches, and we can help everybody develop, which has kind of put us in the position that we can, you know, that we can do things like the bowls. The other huge advantage for us, so for people who don't know, we're based at the campus at Sussex University at Falmer. So Sussex have a football program, the Saxons. We've got a number of Saxons players on our playing staff, and their head coach plays for us as well.
They just had a very good season, didn't they? If I remember rightly,
they did in 2019. Yes, they had a good season. Then on the last season they played. Then on the other side of the 27, you've got the Brighton University campus, or the University of Brighton, the Panthers, and we've got a lot of their guys that are coaches or players with us. And then this year, we've been lucky enough to attract coaches, the head coach, and players from Chichester University as well. So we're pulling and helping universities develop in three places as well, which one, helps the game develop overall, but two, obviously is paying dividends back to the Thunder organization as well. So, you know, it's definitely not all about me. It's about everybody who's working within our organization for the betterment of football as a whole, rather than just the betterment of the Sussex Thunder. It's, you know, what can we do for football on the South Coast to make it better for everyone?
And are the Thunder and the Thunderbolts the only two teams that you've got, like adult contact, or do you have any others at the club as well?
So for anybody who's under 18 that wants to play football, there is an organisation in Brighton called the Brighton and Hove Scorpions, which look after youth and junior element of the game. And then not so far down the road, there's the Hellingley Hound Dogs, which is a great youth organisation, which we've got some players that have graduated from that organisation and come and play for us.
Right.
So, but because we've got those youth organisations almost on our doorstep, there's this sort of agreement that we won't have a youth organisation, but they won't have a senior organisation. So we kind of help them, they help us, and we all kind of live together and succeed on the back of that.
So it's quite a large, operation when you consider these other teams that you're, that you're working with. What is there anything from like do your coaches and players get involved in any of that? Like, would they go to the youth team and help coach them, or like do you trade notes with the coaches in terms of, I don't know, your scheme and all that sort of stuff? Is there any sort of connection there that side?
We've got open communication, so I mean, anybody knows that if they need anything, they only need ask. We have got people involved that are either players for us or coaches that are involved in all of those organisations. Right. So, the guy that runs the Hellingley Hound Dogs, Sambo, remind me, his name's Luke, right?
Yeah, Luke Bora.
Yeah, Luke Bora. Apologies, Luke, if you're watching this. I did know that was your name. Yeah, I kept thinking. I keep thinking Luke Combs, and he will know why, and we'll probably laugh about that. Yeah, we're willing to help anybody develop to play football. That's just what we want to do as an organisation.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Now I'll start again with players, and I'll end up with Coach Ellis here. Again, I'll start with you, Reese. Again, I'll keep picking on you, but I just want. It's your fault for messing about with two devices.
Right, it's a nightmare.
No, yeah. So forgetting like the actual sport itself and how great the game is, if you were trying to convince someone to come and join the Thunder, what would you say? Like, what do you think? Apart from, obviously, I know you've already mentioned this coaching thing, but what's so good about this club that you would recommend someone to come and join it?
I mean, even just ignoring this club for now, the one sentence I always say when someone asks me about American football, they're always like, "Oh, I'm too skinny," or "I'm too fat," and I go, "American football is the most inclusive sport that I've ever seen in the UK. There is a role for every single person, be that the heavier guys, the small, skinny, 4'9" guys. There's a role for every single person on the field. Someone will find something to do." And then when you bring it into the Sussex Thunder specifically, like I joined the Sussex Thunder, and I came from a new team and 2 sessions, and it was like I'd been there for years.
Right.
Like
you're welcomed quite
straight away. There's no there's no clicks. There's offense, defense.
Yeah, that'll always exist, mate.
And Sambo likes to shake his mouth off a little bit, but
yeah, I'm the same. I'll argue with anyone on the offense. I hate them, but I want them to win on game day. I'll fucking
as soon as training's done and we're not offense and defense anymore, and we're Sussex Thunder, that's it. Like, it's one unit.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think if it's all right to jump in, Reese, there, I don't want to piss offense off.
Go ahead.
I like the fact that Reese is in white representing offense and Samo's in black representing defense.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It was definitely planned.
Yeah, all considered. I think for people coming down, like you say, that is a thing. It's the only sport I know that you can have such different dimensions of people playing alongside each other. Definitely. Because I have one guy that I play with, Jack Breyer. I mean, Jack Breyer is just enormous. He can barely fit through a door, and just bone structure, he's just big. I mean, what sport could I play against him or with him, and it be any form of fair? Whatever it is. If it's fighting, he's going to destroy me. If it's running, I'm going to murder him. So, you've got to look at it like that. But I think that aside. I'm from Leeds originally, so I live down in Eastbourne. So when I moved down here, I only stayed because of the people I met, and that wasn't even football. But the same happens when you go to a club. You go to a club and you stay with that club, and because of the people you meet, and you do. Coach Ellis, you talk to any coach at any club you go to anywhere in the UK or anywhere, and they'll tell you that football's given them more than they could ever give football. And I feel it's the same for us. So when you get into your later stages, like me, you know, in the last sort of 3 years of my career, I sit there thinking, well, what more can I give? You know, maybe some coaching, maybe some time, maybe setting up the field. You kind of sit there thinking, you know, I've taken hundreds of friends from the sport, really good times. You know, even the championship game, you know, we really did not look after the hotel that night. It was terrible. And the memories, you know, you can't get them anywhere else. You know, they're like stag do memories, but they're every weekend. So,
can I tell you, Steve? Can I tell you a story about that particular?
No, you can't. No,
yeah, you can, yeah.
No, you can't.
I was going to mute Sambo. Yeah, go on then.
So that night, Sambo's going to get all embarrassed now, but this is the championship story. So in the hotel that we stayed in that night, Sambo and a couple of players went and had a few too many to drink, and when they came back, they had the munchies. So they worked their way into the hotel kitchen, and I
would like to suggest a little bit different. That I herded your guys from breaking into a kitchen, and I convinced them I'll break in on my own without damaging anything, and then let them in. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this is a worrying story. It doesn't come with a good end. But,
it really doesn't.
But Sambo acquired a championship cake.
Okay? Victory cake, coach.
Victory cake that was in the kitchen.
With two American players on the top.
However, there was a bride at a wedding who was without her wedding cake.
I feel really bad. And this has gone viral.
I'm clipping that.
This is one of our favourite team stories.
Well, you see, the thing was that the team were hungry, and there's a lot of line. Oh no, victory cake. That's not a hashtag. Look, there was a lot of big guys, and they're really hungry, and there was loads of sandwiches all cut up into neat triangles, like for the wedding. And so we fed them out. A couple of guys wanted cereal, so I got them some cereal. And I'm guys, you know, getting them all fed, getting them, you know, you need to get them, you know, they're all drunk. They need to sober up for the ride home.
Victory cake. Was the little plastic couple on the top of it not a giveaway?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was very drunk. So, you know, I picked it up and it had roses around it and these people on it. So I took the cake up, you know, with the guys. But I said to the guys, you can only eat the top layer of cake, right? And take the people off because they're American football people. Why everyone believe me, I don't know. And then I wrapped it up and we got on the double-decker coach on the way home. And I was sat downstairs with the coaches doing a bit of debrief from the game. And I gave it to one of my guys. I said, look, go hand out the victory cake, make sure everybody gets a slice. And we're on a tannoy, you know, everybody got a bit of cake, great. And then someone put their hand up and said, and they said, why, what's up? They said, mine's got a bride and a groom on it. And I was like, and then I was sat in front of Coach Ellis looking at him as he's eating victory cake. And he went, Sambo, do you want to tell me why there's a bride and a groom on my victory cake? I went, so, yeah. I had to go back upstairs and sit with the muggles upstairs. So it sucked.
Unbelievable. It's a great story. So
I think the great bit is, wasn't it 2 weeks after we got a letter from the hotel saying that we were
we were.
Yeah. I got so right at the end of handing out the cake, I got all the guys to the bedroom and I said, look, everybody go to rooms. It's like 30 guys. And then one of them said, I got my cereal. And he's got about 100 boxes of these cereal, like, you know, Cocoa Pops. And he said, Sambo, I haven't got any milk. And I said, look, I'll go back down and get you milk, wait in your room, and I'll go get it. So I went back down on my own, and that's when security caught me. And they walked me back to my room with milk, and I got a big bag of milk because they come in boxes.
They let you keep the milk.
Well, no, I kind of put it on my shirt, but I just keep that. So I was trying to put two up my shirt, and he caught me with the second one. But then on the walk back, because he was so focused on me being drunk and having this weird shaped belly of milk, that he didn't notice that everyone had thrown the was it cheese and cheese and onion sandwiches, tossed them all down the corridor, all the way up. And there's about 50 sandwiches down the side, and he did not notice them at all. Then when we got to the door, I could see the cake in the back, and I'm thinking, this is it, we're done. And he just didn't notice any of it. So,
wow, well, that's do you know what? We should do a live streams just on Britball stories. This is the stuff people care about. No one cares about how well the Thunders run. They care about the stories the Thunders have got to tell.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So Coach Ellis, same sort of question to you. Like, why should I know you've already mentioned about the coaching development, which I think is really, really good, and player. But you know, what's so good about the Sussex Thunder? Why should someone join? And I suppose anything really, even if it's someone that's helping you out on match days or whatever. Why be involved at your club?
I think the thing is that over the years of being involved in football, you know, I've taken things from everywhere that we've been, and we've tried to incorporate them as best we can into what we do as an organisation. And I would like to suggest that our program is as close to being organised as much as a college program or a semi-pro program in the States. And we organise everything sort of down to the last grain, really, so that everybody knows exactly what they're doing, how they're going to do it, why they're going to do it, and we try and make it as realistic for our players as it possibly could be if they were playing somewhere else. You know, if they were playing in the States.
That was I assume you know this guy. It'd be funny if you don't.
So James, who's that? James
Luke.
played.
It's Luke.
James lives in Tamworth, I believe, and travels 3.5 hours to
Wolverhampton.
Wolverhampton. Apologies.
3.5 hours one way, each way.
Yeah.
7 hours.
Yeah, he's a tight end for us.
Like, when I saw 3.5, I thought, that's round trip. I genuinely thought that was round trip.
No, he drives from the Midlands down to us to train and play, and then drives back.
Yeah, he's committed. He's a committed individual. Oh.
And that's so when people come to our organisation, Stephen, they go, "Oh, coach, I live in North London. I can't. It's a real struggle for me to get there." Then we just go to a player who lives somewhere near, and like, "Oh, could you pick so and so up?" So, you know, we try and get our guys connected rather than sitting in a car and driving for 2 hours on your own and you're not talking to somebody. You know, surely it's better that we get players connected and they come together. And Sambo runs a taxi service. Nobody in Eastbourne appears to drive. So Sambo leaves at 6 o'clock in the morning and picks everybody up.
Genuinely, as this is online, can someone answer why nobody in Eastbourne drives? There's 5 guys. We've got 3 cars that go and 5 additional guys that don't drive, don't have licenses. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. So, yeah.
But that's part of our organisation. You know, if you're part of a team, it's every team I've ever been to says we're creating a family. I would like to suggest that we have created a family and everybody pulls together. And you know, we will find, if somebody wants to be part of our organisation, we will find a way for you to get there.
There's one guy that I drive past training and go to Worthing and then drive back to get him. And he's a great guy and he's a rookie this year and he's really starting to stand out. He's on the O line, isn't he? I believe so. You know, he's doing really well. But you know, you just got to help out. But I think some people view Sundays as I need to get football in and out of the way. I don't view it that way. The day's a write-off because if I'm not at football, I'm feeling the effects of football and I'm shattered afterwards. So just commit your whole day, get involved. So driving 3.5 hours each way, whilst huge commitment, you know, it's worth it in his mind. That's why he does it. Or else he wouldn't do it, would he? So yeah,
cool. I do want to go back. I want to touch on what each of you guys think about this, your Wessex League, you know, new season. But before we do that, Coach Ellis, can you just talk to me a little bit about your ambitions or the ambitions of the club? So you mentioned earlier you want to get into the Prem, right? Yep. Like so that's obviously one goal. But have you got like time frame set to this? Have you got like longer term goals? And Like, how do you think about the future of your organisation?
So the thought of my organisation probably outstretches the conversations that I've currently had with the committee. So they're probably likely to get, they're probably likely to be a bit open-mouthed at this point. So obviously, winning a national championship at the Division 1 level is the next step for us. We've been there or thereabouts in the playoffs the last few years. Obviously, recruiting was vitally important to us. Obviously, that's not going to happen in 2021, but what 2021 will give us is an opportunity to kind of really get a feel for where we are, so that when we come back and play competitive football again in 2022, hopefully we will win a Division 1 championship and get back into the Prem. One of my concerns always when we do any kind of rebuild is rebuild to play Prem football rather than build to play the level that we're playing. And I think we've done that. I think one of our goals was building a large offensive line, and I think we've done that. And there's a window of opportunity, I think, of, you know, maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 years, a window of opportunity with what we have, plus whatever else we may be able to recruit in the Prem. I would like to be competitive in the Prem. And if I was really shooting for the stars, you know, some of my best times in football were playing in competitions like the EFAF Cup, and you know, if we could win a Premier Championship, I would like to take the team back into Europe. At which point, every Thunder committee member's just fallen off their chair.
It's good to hear that. Then, you know, that and you know, when you hear the word ambition, that's the sort of, you know, that's the sort of juicy reply you want to hear back, right? Particularly from someone that's leading the organisation. As a player myself, you know, if I'm asking my coach, the person I'm playing for, what their ambitions are, and they give me it'd be nice if we, you know, had a winning record for the next couple of years, I'd be like, fucking, you know. So it's, you know, it's like you know, and you know, if you're not aiming for that and that's not your goal, you'll actually never even reach anything like it, you know. So it's it's good to hear, you know, and I think I'd like to think that, you know, that more clubs out there have got players, coaches that think in the same light. But the truth be told, I don't think so. I think a lot of people give up when they think, the London Warriors and the London Blitz will never get there. Fucking, you know, coach, you know, we've toppled the big boys, haven't we? like, and it's possible. You just got to keep going at it, right? You've got to want it, and you've got to work for it.
People would have told us in 2004 that we never would have been able to beat the Olympians, but we beat the Olympians 3 times that year and won a national championship. You know, we all know that we probably should have won some more championships, but luck just didn't go our way for whatever reason. But you know, I've known Tony Allen for most of our career in football. You know, and that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be competing. I want to be competing against the London Warriors, and I want to be competing at that level. And for me, every time we walk on the field, as far as I'm concerned, it's a win. If I would be thinking anything else, I'm in the wrong job.
Yeah.
You know, so not winning is not an option. You know, the guys will tell you. We never talk about if we could just do this or if we could just do that.
Yeah. Keep them scoring. Keep the score line.
We're absolutely going to win. When we walk on the field, the ultimate goal is to win.
That's good to hear. So that then does bring me on, and we're sort of going to wrap up now because we've just gone over an hour. But I do want to hear. So I think it's the BAFANL Wessex Conference for the 2020 season that you guys find yourselves in. Yeah, you're up against. So let me just. I know you've already mentioned it, Coach. But let me just mention the teams that. So Bournemouth Bobcats, Solent Thrashers, Rushmore Knights, Sussex Thunder, Portsmouth Dreadnoughts. That's the 5 teams, right?
Yeah.
So Reece, starting with you, mate. How do you think you're gonna do against in this league? From what I understand, there's going to be 8 games that everyone plays, right? So, and I'm not trying to get you guys to commit to something that you know behind the scenes, but I spoke to Pete the CEO of BAFA the other week, and he told me it, right? So I know it's 8 games. So you know, in your 8-game season, if you want, you can say a record or just talk about the teams. How do you think you're going to do in 2021?
I think there's a good mix of teams in there.
Moose
8-0 is always the dream. Always the dream. It's what if you're not aiming for 8-0, then like Coach just said, you're in the wrong sport. Like, what's the point of turning up and going, I'm going to lose today? Like, there's you go out on the field, you go, I'm going to win. Every time I go on the field, every time I step out, every play, it's I'm going to score, or I'm going to make a first down. Like, you got to go for the top. Boys, what's the point? We got some good teams, and we got some competitive teams. Like Solent, obviously last year went and won. They won Div 1 in the last season that we played. Yeah,
undefeated.
And yeah, they're a good team, and I cannot wait to play against them. Because we've played against them in the 2019 season. I can't wait to play against them now that I've settled in more to.
So are they the ones that you would consider you've got a rivalry with? Like, because I know it's been you and them against each other for a few years. Like, are they the ones that you really want to, you want to sort of stick it to? Is there like a derby
sticking it to every team? I don't care who it is. I'll put points on anyone. Like,
look at him. He's almost talking like he plays defense now. Like, with a bit of a chest.
I've done it. I've played defense before, back in the dark days.
So is there a team that you think are going to be your biggest? Who do you think is going to be your toughest opponents in that division or conference?
I think looking at, well, like positionally wise, the Thrashers should be our
on paper.
On paper, the Thrashers are the best team in our conference.
Yeah,
but you can't look at other teams like that. Like we've the teams that are in Div 1 or lower. It takes one game for them to pop up and go, cool, here we are. You've underestimated us, and then they wipe the floor with you 30-0. Like you can't go into a game thinking this is easy or this is difficult. Every game you got to put in the same workload that you would if I went and played against the Arizona Cardinals next week. You put the same effort into that game that I do playing against an associate team.
Yeah,
because what's the point if you're not doing that?
Cool. So you are going for, well. Your mentality
on paper, Thrashers are the biggest competition that we'll have this year.
Okay, cool. Sam, same sort of question or same group of questions to you. So tell me what you're thinking about this season. Who are your tough opponents going to be? You don't have to go and say a record if you don't want to, but yeah, tell me about.
I don't know. Defense turn up and we do what we do. So I'm not. No team really bothers me. There's one person who bothers me though. However, not a team. I think all the teams we'll handle them fine, like we've handled most people most seasons for the last 3-4 years. But it's Steve Rains. Like that guy. Like that is a coach. He can think his way out of a problem. He gets your number. If he does his research, which he does on most teams, if he values his opponent, once he's done his research on you, you can't work your way out of the problems that he puts you in. That is a smart guy.
Just for those watching, Steve Rains is the head coach of the Solent Thrashers.
Yeah, and he's got a bit of an arsenal of weapons. Some of the guys down there, I know them and they're real good. So he puts them in the right place. But I think it comes down to that. A lot of the teams that we've struggled against ever in the past, they've just done the research on us. They've watched game footage. They've picked out key players. That's when you get a hard game, when you get someone that's actually putting the work and done the research. Because all the other stuff I expect people to be able to do. I expect you to be able to backpedal. I expect Reece to be able to catch a ball. That's football, Yeah, I did make you cough one up on Sunday. Sorry, the house, but it's that kind of stuff. But I think coaches put it on a new level, and Steve Rains is one of those guys that, whilst I think I can beat his team, I don't know if I can beat the guy because he'll just outthink you. He goes in at the halftime, and he comes out and he's a different team. So I don't know what he says to them, but we get a story about Vikings and boats out of Coach Ellis, but I don't know what he does. But
I know what he does. Basically insults everyone and screams and tells you to be better. And that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it works, whatever it is. So it's too good. So yeah, that's what I see. Score wise, it doesn't really matter. The score wise, 8-0 doesn't really matter as long as you make the playoffs, you make the finals, you make the game. So,
so I've heard, and I obviously don't know this because I don't know if the fixtures aren't out yet, but I've heard there's no playoffs, but there will be Brit Bowl, so there will be a final. But there won't be, so I don't know how that's going to work.
It looks like Coach Ellis will answer better, but it looks like it's invitational only, I think.
Right. 100% Steve, apparently. I don't know what that one's about, Andy, but he's talking about Rainsy, I think, shouting.
Yeah, he's talking about Rainsy. Yeah, close for him. Yeah.
And then, so Coach Ellis, so your 2021 season, what are you going to try and do? What do you think you can do? Who's your biggest threats or challenges this season?
Okay, so we're going to go 8-0. We'll just put that out there from the get. But obviously, the challenges will be the Thrashers. If there's a coach I know and that knows me inside out, it will be Steve. We spent 8 years together, so that'll be a challenge. And Steve and I have already spoken about it when we had a call a couple of weeks ago. So I think we're both looking forward to it. I haven't had an opportunity to play the Knights since I left in.
Oh, really?
So it's taken 11 years, but I'm looking forward to playing the Knights as well.
And so this is, I suppose, a more provocative question. None of you mentioned the Dreadnoughts and the Bobcats. Are they just, like they're just not at the level, or
no.
Are you sleeping on them? And they could be a surprise package.
I don't think I didn't mention them because they're not worthy mentioning. I just think you asked who with the main focal points, but like they all bring something different. The QB down at Portsmouth, he's boss. The Bournemouth guys. They're ex-rugby guys, a lot of them, a few military guys, and they hit hard. They can't catch too well, but they hit hard, So they're all good. So you've got different things in different areas, but like I said, we've got to do our research. We can't be doing the same thing we do to everybody on everything. But yeah, problems is what you asked.
I mean, I think again on paper, like looking at all of the different leagues up and down the country, the Wessex one stands out. As a very competitive, everyone's like at the same sort of level in that team. There's not, you don't have these polarized teams chucked in where you've got an associate and a King Prem team. It's it's going to look good. Ollie has just posted up, and I think you guys have published your schedule, so that's cool. So I can't share it. It'll be in the comments on Facebook, so you guys can check the schedule there. I didn't realize schedules were out yet, but
so we may have jumped the gun and coughed it out, but I'm
waiting for our website. But I'll chase up James Platt, see if he's got them. But really good to hear, guys. And I don't know if you're aware, but something we're going to be launching this season is a show called Game Day Live. So we'll be presenting like a Sky Sports Soccer Saturday type thing where we'll be presenting and watching the game, watching highlights and stuff, and whatever. And I said, the Sussex Thunder and Surge World, those guys will definitely produce something that we'll have to be able to show. But we'll keep an eye on all the fixtures, and if there's any opportunities to sort of do interviews with you guys after the games and stuff, we'll let you know. I don't know how it's going to all pan out because it's like a mess at the moment. Like I don't know who's going, because there'll be different clubs that tweet, clubs that use Instagrams, clubs that don't use anything. Some clubs still use score streaks. We've got to figure all this stuff out. How are we going to get these scores in? But yeah, we'll definitely be tracking your progress over the season, and let us know if you ever want to come on and chat or even just sort of do like a video drop in like this and have an interview after one of the games. But yeah, I need to figure it all out first. But I'm looking forward to that just as much as you guys are probably looking forward to the season. But what's this? Can Oz commentate, please? Yeah, I'm trying to get Oz because he's hilarious. But we're not commentators, we're presenters. There's a difference.
Have you seen the other comment?
This one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so let me just explain. So Matthew Baker used to be the punter for the Brighton B-52s and played for the Sussex Thunder back in the early days. And I'm in my office, but yes, you are quite right. So if you saw the video earlier with the uniform release, that's it there in those 6 bags.
There you go. There's your answer.
Yeah.
And then we got there's a couple from everyone loves Oz. The reason Ollie thinks he's a jinx, I think Oz was commentating when Ollie took his shot to the knee.
Oh, was he?
Oh, that was horrific. I don't know if you guys have seen the footage. That was in South Wales. I remember it clearly. And then his backup QB Jacob came on. Exact same play from the exact same player, exact same injury. Like the next play, it was awful. It was awful. But anyway, yeah. So I'll try and get Oz involved. He's good for a laugh. But I don't know. He's hard to get him. He can do like one-off things, but get him to do something regularly is more difficult. But anyway, enough about that. But thank you guys for coming on. It's been a real pleasure chatting to you and learning a little bit more about your organisation. And I wish you guys all the best. I do hope, good luck for your 8-0. I hope you guys get it. We'll probably have you guys back on at some point if you're up for it. We'll do like a post-season review, shall we? And is there anything you guys want to say before you go?
Well, so I think it went great. Great review. Before you edit it and you put it online, can we take that cake stuff out?
Well, the way this works, we can't. It is immediately available online.
Wait, look at the top left of your screen.
It's live.
The top left of your
What's
screen.
What's that number counting up about, though?
The counting up. Yeah. That's the amount of time we've been live.
Wait, it's live?
Yeah. Yeah, well, where do you think these comments are coming from?
Like someone's I know you wrote them on the side or something.
No, all your mates. I don't even know these people.
So in this interview, Sam called himself a thief and an idiot.
It was none of that was real.
Sam got sold out. Yeah, we tricked him.
See, Reese thinks he's implicated, so he's left.
Yeah, Reese has dropped out. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you remember that one? Who was that interview with where the guy thought that the wind turbines?
That was London Blitz. I think that was X's and O's.
Was it X's and O's? So ultimately, the guy thought that global warming, the fans out in the sea were cooling the
blow cold air.
Yeah, like a fan would cool your room. I love that. The look on his face.
Well, you know what, mate? This might top it. So I'm going to chop this up and put it online, and we'll clip that bit.
That's it. Oh God!
You'll have your own highlight reel.
But it's been great, and you really do produce good stuff, Steve. So I really appreciate you having us on. Thanks you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you, Coach Ellis, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Take care.
Stay